I just wanted to announce a conference that's available on Friday. It's for women entrepreneurs. It's being put on by one of the women entrepreneurs that oftentimes comes and talks to our lecture series, Kelly Anderson. She's offering a student special, so if you would like, to sign up, is there a sign up for them? I don't know. I thought, let's see, register as attendee with coupon code BYU. There you go. So when you go online to register, it's only $25 if you're a student with the BYU coupon code number instead of $119, which is a great value. That includes lunch, and it includes all the materials from the conference. So for students, it couldn't be better. Our speaker today spoke at it last time. We have really high-quality speakers that come and speak, and so I told her that I would make you aware of it as students. And it's my pleasure today to introduce Kate Maloney. She is a really fun speaker. She's been on kind of a wild ride, starting out, I think, in chemistry as an undergraduate, through a little stint she'll tell you about in computer software, and then all the way to costumes. And how she got on that wild ride and what she's doing today is really a fun story. Costume Craze is her company. It's a great bootstrapping story, and it's a great story of just how big a computer business, an online business, can get from a few $100s in sales a month up to a multi-million-dollar online retailer. Very impressive story. Last year you were named to Inc. 500, Inc. Magazine's 500 fastest growing companies list. Very, very impressive distinction. And what have I left out? We're just thrilled to have Kate here to tell us her story. Kate Maloney.
Thank you. Oh, got to turn one of these on. Okay. Just get out of here. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. My name is Kate Maloney. I'm the CEO and one of the owners of Costume Craze. We sell Halloween costumes over the internet. In the company, there's three of us. Or I should say, well, there's more than three of us now. But my brother Matthew is the one who started the company. He is a computer programmer. And he built a piece of software, which we call Static Advantage. And that software was meant to be sold. We were going to be a software company, actually. And we were going to sell this software to retail companies who wanted to get better rankings on search engines without having to pay for pay-per-click advertising. And that's kind of how Costume Craze got started, and I'll get into a little bit more detail about that in a minute. The other person in the company is Kathleen Maloney. That's our mom. Her experience before we got into Costume Craze was managing medical offices for about 35 years. And she came out about 6 years ago. She was just going to be out here for a few weeks to help us get our software company off the ground. And 6 years later, well, she's still here. So my poor dad is still in Florida, I think a little bit lonely, I don't know. And then there's me. I graduated from BYU in April of 2002. I got my degree in business management, emphasis on entrepreneurship. And before that, I had like 6 or 8 other majors, ranging from molecular microbiology to accounting to computer programming. So and then I finally settled on entrepreneurship because of all of the different areas that I had wanted to be in. The thing that was constant was I wanted to have my own pharmaceutical company or my own accounting firm or my own whatever it was. So I decided to go with entrepreneurship. So what do? We sell Halloween costumes and accessories over the internet. The costumes are made mostly here in America. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of them are made outside of America, but the manufacturers themselves are based in the States. And then they outsource a lot of the manufacturing to Asia and the Philippines, places like that. So the three main companies are Ruby's, Pony Express, and Disguise. They're the ones that get all of the good licenses. So Batman, Spider-Man, these companies get those licenses. And we don't really care who makes the costumes. If they've got a license that we want, we're going to buy from them. And we are one of the only online costume companies that sells internationally. All of our competitors, they sell to Canada and Mexico, and that's about it. But we sell to practically every country. Okay, so Static Advantage. When we first had this software, we knew that before we could sell it, we were going to need to be able to prove to people that it actually worked. And so we got a test site up, which was called Matthew's Robes. And we were selling Jedi robes and monk robes. That was my brother's idea, not mine. And after we got, let's see, my brother in spring of 2002, excuse me, spring of 2002, spring of 2002, he bought about 150 Jedi robes. And I didn't come into the company until September of 2002. So at that time, I remember we were all kind of gossiping about him behind his back, saying, what is he doing? I cannot believe he spent like $5,000 on all of these Jedi robes. Nobody's going to buy them, blah, blah, blah. And by September of that year, all of them were gone. All 150 of them were gone. So we were all like super surprised. There was only 2 products on his website, the Jedi robe and the monk robe, and he had sold all 150 of these Jedi robes. And at that point, I bought in to the company. He started it with his friends, and I paid $2,500 for his friend's portion of the company. And kind of the rest is history. At that time, we were still planning to sell this software, Static Advantage. So it took us about 6 months or about a year, and we had taken out a second mortgage on our mom's house, about $150,000. We blew through that money in less than a year trying to sell this software. And we realized in the meantime, hey, our little costume website is doing really, really well. And at that point, we had about 12 products on there, including a chicken costume, which was also my brother's idea. And we decided to give up trying to sell this software and to focus 100% of our time on selling costumes, which was definitely not in my list of things to do in my lifetime. And I'm the one that said selling Halloween costumes is a terrible idea. You can't make a living doing that. So when it comes to selling costumes, it's hard to have a competitive advantage because only one costume company can get the license for Batman. So when you go to Walmart or to any other website and then come to mine, we're all selling the exact same costume. There's no difference. There's levels of quality, and we can buy the cheap one that Walmart sells, and we can buy the $500 one, which we do sell. So it becomes a little bit difficult to find a competitive advantage, some way that you can be different and better than all the other people out there. And so we have a few competitive advantages. One of ours is the natural results in search engines. We don't pay, our advertising budget is basically zero as far as trying to get more customers. We do advertise for employees and to our immediate surrounding area, to Pleasant Grove, where we are right now. We have a coupon special for them. But it's mostly geared towards finding more employees. So if we don't have to pay for any kind of advertising, then suddenly our prices can be a lot lower than our competitors. Or we can raise our prices a little bit and take that extra profit and keep it for ourselves. Or we can invest that profit into more costumes. So we do a little bit of both. Our prices are generally the lowest that you'll find on the internet. Excuse me. And we take the extra profit and reinvest it into our company. The next advantage that we have that our competitors don't is our order management software. So once the order comes in, so we have our software that helps us get the customers, and then we have more software once the customer has already placed their order and how we service them. Everything we do is homegrown. We like to say that we're a technology company that happens to sell costumes. Everything that we have, like I said, is homegrown, and it's built kind of to our specifications and our needs, which, in my opinion, is very important. I've never seen any, order management processing software like what we have. And it really helps us to be able to service our customers the way they need to be serviced. It's difficult. Most software is meant to be, it's not meant to have such a cyclical issue, have so many cyclical issues. We go from 200 orders a day to 10,000 orders a day, almost overnight. So in a lot of software, they're meant to handle just a certain amount of orders coming in each day, a certain amount of traffic. So it becomes really important in order to service our people to have this software. And our management team, Kathleen, Matt, and I, as a team together, the way we're able to communicate, to react to emergencies and make changes. Our competitors don't have the three of us, obviously. So where are we now? 2006 revenue. I'm missing a slide, I think. Okay, so 2007 revenues were about $7.2 million. So don't look at the screen right now. They were about $7.2 million. And as of today, I believe we have 57 employees right now. And that will be going up to about 100, maybe 120 at most. And so on October 20th, there might be about 120 people. And then by November 1st, we'll be back down to our standard about 35 that we have full-time year-round. So you got a preview on what happened in 2006 here. So let's just take a quick look at our website, if we can. Okay, so here is our website. We are different than our competitors because if you order today by 3 o'clock, we're shipping it out today. So basically, we're guaranteeing if you order overnight shipping by 3 p.m., you're going to get it tomorrow. And a lot of our competitors, they say it ships normally within 24 to 48 hours. So our customer, and buying a Halloween costume is really, really an emotional purchase. I mean, these people have like an image in their head of what they're going to look like at their party, and they're going to win the contest, the costume contest, and all these things. And so ordering a Halloween costume becomes really emotional. And people they're not willing to wait for a week to get their costume. They need it tomorrow. So we found that offering that guarantee of shipping it out today is really, really helpful. Does anybody have any costumes they want to look at? Come on, don't be... Transformer. Let's look at it. Well, maybe. Which, by the way, if anybody has questions, feel free to interrupt me, and then I can speak about the things that you're really interested in. Yeah?
So are you guys just like a middleman kind of thing, where people come to you, order, and then you're shipping from?
Yes. Yeah, the manufacturers are not interested in shipping out one costume at a time. They want to ship out hundreds of them.
Employees, what are they just here to take orders? You know what I mean?
We have employees doing our shipping out in the warehouse, taking orders over the phone, answering questions, processing exchanges and returns, that kind of stuff. And then we've also got our marketing team and a team of programmers as well. Okay, so here's some Transformer stuff. Kids and a couple of adult ones. This one looks fun. Anyway, so kind of fun. Anything else anybody wants to look at? Yeah? Sasquatch. I don't know what that is.
Bigfoot?
Oh, I don't know if we have that. No, I'm sorry, we don't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You said that you don't spend any money on advertising. How is that possible to get the natural search engine so high? How do you do that?
The software that we use, Static Advantage. So Google, okay, there's two different kinds of websites. There's static websites and dynamic websites. Dynamic websites, when you go there, the Gap or Target, just about any retail store has a dynamic website. When you go to that page, it has a list of things that it has to go and gather for you. So you say, I want to look at this blue button-down shirt. And when you click on that, it goes and gathers all of these different pieces of information very quickly, obviously, and then loads them up on your screen. Static websites, which is like ours, the pages are built hours ago or days ago or a month ago. And until there's a change, it doesn't get rebuilt again. And so when you ask for that page, it comes up right that second. So that's the main difference between static and dynamic. Google has a hard time with dynamic pages. It can't read all of the information, all of the text very well. In addition, dynamic websites, you can go in kind of a loop. And every time you see this blue shirt, you're not always at the exact same address. It can be a different address if you go up there and look at that. And Google needs to know that it's looking at new distinct information for every single page that it's looking at for it to properly index it. And so if it gets stuck in a loop, the Google bot, if it gets stuck in a loop while it's looking at your website, it's just going to take off. And you need Google, obviously, to be indexing all of your pages so that people can find you. But the reason that these retail websites use dynamic web pages is because it's very time-consuming and it requires a lot of man hours to have a static website, especially with so many, if you have thousands of products. We've got 12,000 different products. So if I put something on sale, okay, let's say you have a pair of shoes and it goes with 8 different shirts or 8 different pairs of pants. If you put those shoes on sale, every single page that has the shoe as a go with this pair of pants or with this shirt, you are going to have to go and change the shoe page, all 8 of the pants and shirts pages, and anywhere else that those shoes come up if you want to put those shoes on sale. So it becomes, and it has to be a programmer, somebody who actually knows HTML if you have static pages to actually go in and do that. So this software keeps our website database driven, but the pages are static. By the time you get there, they're static pages. So Google can look at every single one of them, and it knows that it's looking at a new, distinct page. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's what our software does. And it hasn't changed since the day we opened our company, and it's still our main source of advertising and revenue.
So that software actually boosts the search results, right?
Yes. It doesn't boost the search results. If the information that you're giving Google stinks, then you're still going to get stinky results. If I don't have the correct information on the product page, here, let's just go to a product real quick and look at it. So this area up at the top, deluxe, adult, Davy Jones, costume, Pirates of the... If you don't have this information up there, the relevancy of your page is going to go down. Or if it's not a very good description up here in this blue bar. If you don't have good descriptions down here in the product description and just about anywhere else, then your page, the relevance of it just goes down. So if you don't have good information, it doesn't matter what kind of software you use, you're never going to get good rankings. Yeah?
So if I were to go to Google and search for, like,
Barbie costume or something.
Barbie costume, your page would be the first one to come up.
Not always first, no, because some people do better at certain terms than we do. Excuse me. I would say in general we're usually in the top 10. But like if you search for something general like just the word costume, I think we're like probably number 50 or 60. But we're okay with that because if you're just searching for the word costume, you have no idea what you want to be yet, and that's not going to turn into a sale anyway. But if you type in Barbie Fairytopia Alina costume, you're a person who knows what you want. You just need to find it in stock and in the right size somewhere. So, and those are the kind of people that we want. And the way we do our website is definitely geared towards those people. Yeah?
You sell your software to other businesses?
Well, we used to, but nobody bought it. So we are really focusing 100% of our time on costumes. It's not that it's not for sale, but it's not really for sale either anymore. Maybe one day when we have costume craze running like a well-oiled machine, we'll get back to doing that. Okay, so we'll go back in time a little bit to 2001 is when the company started, but literally nothing happened in 2001 with the company, so as far as sales go. In 2002, we were working out of our home. We used our savings. I had a nice salaried job at a doctor's office right after I graduated, and I also had a small inheritance from my grandfather's death that I had about, I think it was all in all about $10,000, not a whole lot. So we used our savings and personal credit cards in 2002 to keep the company, or get the company really kind of up and running. And the biggest day we had that year, there was 22 packages. And I was actually by myself running Costume Craze because in 2002 through the beginning of 2003, Kathleen and Matt were in California trying to sell our software still. So I was taking care of Costume Craze by myself, basically. And we got like maybe 1 to 2 orders per week, usually. So imagine I quit my salary job to sit and go like this all day, waiting for the phone to ring or something to happen. And we only had 1 or 2 a week. So sometimes I would get to work and just sit around and do practically nothing. But then Halloween came, and I had 22 packages. I picked up the phone. I was like jumping up and down. Like I was like seriously so excited. My trunk was practically full. I had wished that I had a camera, and it was really exciting day. That when most of the time I had nothing in my car, I suddenly one day had 22 packages. I mean, I barely had time to do them all by myself. So, and we made that year $17,000. Not a whole lot, and obviously we didn't take a paycheck, so there was really nothing to take. In 2003, we were still working out of our house, and we went from having about 12 products in 2002. In 2003, I believe we had over 200 different products, and we're working out of our house. And it's not a big house. It's maybe like 2,500 square feet or something. So we used every inch of space in that house, including the garage. Kathleen's bedroom had her desk and another employee's desk in there, so talk about no privacy. My bedroom functioned as my room, the living room, the kitchen, and anywhere else anybody wanted to sit that and be away from Costume Craze. We had another bedroom where my desk was, another employee, our graphic designer, and one of our computer programmers. And I mean, these bedrooms are pretty small. They're like maybe 10 by 10 or something. So, and the programmer's desk was inside the closet. We took off the doors of the closet and stuck him in the closet. So, and then we also had some shelving in that bedroom for some of our costumes and stuff too. So, we seriously squished everything that we could possibly fit into our house. And I've got some pictures on here too that I can show. So, by the time Halloween came around, our house was completely full, and there was 52-foot trucks pulling up into our driveway, and then we would get up into the truck and unload the boxes by hand. And sometimes I would wake up and there was already people at work in the other bedroom, and they would say, "Oh, Kate, I have an idea," and then we would start talking, and then it's noon or 1 o'clock, and I realize I'm still in my pajamas, I haven't brushed my teeth yet, I'm not ready for the day, and that was kind of how our lives were for a few years. So by the time Halloween came around, this is what I started to say, our house was completely full, and we literally had no more space. We had used every square inch there was. And so we thought, I wonder if we can rent a U-Haul, and we'll just park it on our lawn. And so that's what we did. We rented a U-Haul, and we parked it on our lawn. And we would unload it every morning onto the driveway and line everything up in box number order, and then at nighttime, we would load it all back up into the truck, and then we would back the truck up to the house and to make sure nobody stole anything. And that's how we lived. And it was kind of crazy. That year, we used, so we're still using our personal credit cards. We took out a second mortgage on my brother's house. So my mom's house we had already done a second mortgage on her house in Florida. And we hadn't paid that off yet. We had just burned through all of that money. And then we took my brother's house and got a loan on his house. And then I remember one day I wrote a check and mailed it. And then it hit me all of a sudden. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to bounce because I already did whatever else. I don't remember the details, but I remember thinking that's going to bounce on Monday when they cash that check. It's going to bounce. And so I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so I went to the bank. I'm like, my car is paid off. So I went to the bank and said, please help me. I need to get a loan for my car like today. And they did it. So they gave us, I think I got like $7,000 or something for it. But it was more than enough to cover that check. And then we used that money to invest more into the company. So then let's see. Oh yeah, that year we had 700 packages go out that day, the biggest day in 2003, which, yeah, from the year before at 22 packages going out in one day. I felt bad for the FedEx guy because he was there for like over an hour scanning every single one of the packages into his truck. And we were so surprised to see 700 orders come in and go out in the same day, because during the rest of the year, we were still only having 1 or 2 orders a week. So we expected, sort of expected, still to only have 22. Maybe at our wildest dreams, we guess we might get to 100 or 150 orders going out in one day, but not 700. It never even occurred to us that we would have that many. And our revenue that year was $680,000, which I think is about over 3,000% growth. And did we take a paycheck? No, we did not. So here's some pictures. I actually don't even know what room this is. There's not enough background area to tell me even what room this was in. This was our front room. Right out those windows is the driveway. Oh yeah, maybe. Can I do that? Oh yeah, there's more over here. Oh, well, I don't know about this. Sorry, I'm not sure how to do lights. So our front yard is through those windows, and this is the living room. And oh, thanks. And yeah, there's 2 of our employees working at a little desk. And we just got that racking like at Home Depot or something, whatever we could find. This is the family room. When I moved into the house, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this part. Kathleen and I moved out of my apartment and moved into my brother's house, and we were both mooching off of him, sort of because we didn't have money to pay rent. So in order to keep our expenses as low as possible, we moved into his house. And when I moved in, we already had some racking or these shelves set up, and I didn't realize that there was a fireplace back there up against the wall in the back until we moved out, and I'm like, oh wow, this is actually kind of a nice room. Let's see, and I mean every inch was taken up with costumes. I mean, when you walk in the door, there's not a place to put your jacket, so you just throw it somewhere. This is the garage, and this is after Halloween, too, by the way. All these pictures were taken after Halloween. So this is our leftover stock. So if you can imagine what it was like when it was really full. Let's see here. I don't know where that is either. So my brother Matthew, his bedroom, he had to give it up because we needed more space. So we put him down in the basement, and we made like a privacy wall with the boxes of costumes. So there's his bed, and then there's stuff of some of our product. And people were coming to work, so he might still be sleeping, and people were coming to work and picking costumes out of his bedroom area. So, and we took all the furniture that was down in the basement, shoved up against the wall, and put his bed there, and then, like I said, made a little wall with the boxes. So. So you can see where the fan is, the light coming from the fan. Okay, so 2004. Obviously, we needed more space, so we moved out of our house and we rented an 11,000 square foot warehouse. We were still using our personal credit cards. We still had that line of credit on my brother's house, and we found an investor/loaner to loan us a little bit of money so that we could continue investing in the company. When I say investing in the company, I really mean increasing our product line. So we went from about 12 products to I think it was about 200 products in 2003, and then in 2004, we had over 1,200. So we needed that money desperately. If people come to your website and you have stuff out of stock, you're only one click away from that customer being gone. It's not like having a retail store where somebody drove 20 minutes to get to you, parked their car, got the kids out of the car seat, went into the store, and then discovered that you don't have what they want. And maybe out of desperation, they might wind up buying something anyway because they already went to all this effort to be there. So, but on the internet, I mean, it didn't take any effort to get to you, and it doesn't take any effort to leave. Yeah. We had, in fact, even in 2004, we didn't have any location management. All we had was Barbie stuff is down here. Elvis and Marilyn Monroe are in the kitchen. The Next Generation, Star Trek Next Generation stuff is in my office with Power Rangers. And you kind of, when you got to work, you had to figure out, you had to start memorizing where everything was. Harry Potter is over there. Lord of the Rings is over there. So that's a good question. And then even in 2004, when we moved into our warehouse and we actually had real racking and stuff set up, we had to do the same thing. Barbie had an aisle, Elvis had an aisle or a section, and all of that kind of stuff. It was very tedious to try to be training people, and a lot of time and money was wasted on people trying to figure out, where is this stuff again? So, yeah. So that year, in 2004, in our brand new warehouse, our biggest day, we had 3,000 packages go out the door. And the average number of orders during the week was 140 orders a week. So where did that come from? You saw all the pictures of all the stuff we had in stock after Halloween. Like I said, when things are in stock on your website, people are buying them. And I don't even know that we realized at the time. I mean, that's only about 20 orders, 30 orders a day at the most. And we had no idea that people were interested in buying costumes all year long. Until 2004, 2005, we figured it out. So our revenue that year was $2.7 million, up from $680,000 and $17,000 2 years previous. And at the end of the year, we didn't do so hot that year. We owed $100,000 to between my sister and my dad. We owed $180,000 to UPS, and in case you didn't know this, UPS is not in the habit of lending money. So they weren't too angry with us. They actually worked well with us to help us get rid of that debt. And we owed about $50,000 to DHL. And then that investor loaner, we owed him $180,000. So all in all, it's just over $500,000, I think. So at the end of the year, I was seriously stressed, and yeah, it was a bad feeling, yeah.
Is this only revenue? Is this less cost of goods sold?
No, this is sales only.
Sales, so you still have to worry about cost of goods sold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you probably have done with science, but so now you're getting more orders per week.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you doing to refill your inventory? Was there a system you were doing, or was it just I know we're getting low, so order those? Or?
The problem with Halloween manufacturers is that they are only manufacturing to sell their stuff once a year. So on October 31st, they hope that their inventory is completely depleted. So which stinks for us on the internet, because we have customers that want to buy all year long. But the manufacturers are used to selling to mom and pop shops around the country who have stores. And how many people are really looking for a costume in your area? Probably not very many. The chances aren't very good. So even the mom and pop shops don't really want to have that much inventory the rest of the year. They want maybe one of everything or something crazy. So it's been a difficult transition for the manufacturers to move from selling out at the end of Halloween to having things in stock all year long. So we still don't have a really good ordering system or ordering process, because we can only buy the stuff once a year, and if they are out of it by August, then they're out of it. We're not getting it until the next year. So after we had all of this debt, and we also had about, if I'm not mistaken, we had about $700,000 of inventory in our warehouse at the end of 2004. So we owed over $500,000 to people, and we had $700,000 of inventory in our warehouse. So we just about had heart attacks. We were thoroughly depressed and just completely disappointed. And then November 1st came, and we had, I think it was 30 orders on November 1st. And we were like, what the heck? Who are these people? Why are they ordering? Are they just ordering for next year? And we decided, yeah, they're probably just still excited about Halloween, and so they're going to order their costumes today and tomorrow, or maybe through the 3rd, and then that'll be it. And then we'll be back down to our regular, just a few orders a day, practically. And then November 4th came, November 5th, and then our sales started going up again before Christmas. And we were like, what is going on? Can this be real? And we realized at that time that now, at this point, we were totally certain that having stuff in stock all year long was huge. And so this big mistake we thought we made that we were depressed about, within about 2 weeks we realized was actually just a blessing in disguise, that we didn't even realize that we had customers who wanted to order all year long. And we didn't take paychecks that year either, obviously. So our new warehouse, in 2004 that we moved into, we bought some used racking and got that all set up. And we had our first shipment that came to a dock, where we had a dock and we had a pallet jack, and we were able to take that stuff off instead of me getting up into the truck and unloading it by hand. And that was one of our employees at the time. And we bought ladders. At the time, you have to understand, this stuff was like very exciting to us, that we like had a big area to fill. Okay, so 2005. 11,500 square foot warehouse. We stayed in the same building. Still using the same methods for financing, except that we were finally able to get an SBA loan. And in 2004, we had gone to, I don't know, 5 or 6 different banks looking for an SBA loan, and they all turned us down. And we were like, what is the problem here? We're a small business, we need money, and we're more than 50% owned by women, so this should be a piece of cake, right? No, they don't. I don't really think that they care if you're more than 50% owned by women, even though they say they do. But finally in 2005, we took up a different tactic. Instead of, the banks really want you to tell them, how much money do you need? And then they'll take it to committee and then tell you if they'll give you that much or not. And so after being turned down 5 or 6 times, I got the idea that, you know what, we should just pick a bank and tell them that we want to have a relationship with them, and tell them if they want to loan us $100,000 that we're asking for, if they want to loan us $500, we'll take it, just so that we can start this relationship. And so that's what we did. We went to our banker, and this is one of the banks that had already turned us down, and said, look, we don't want to tell you how much money we want. We want you to tell us how much money you're willing to give us, because we want to start this relationship. We want you to get to know us, and we want to get to know you, etc. And he came back a few days later, or a week later, and said, okay, we'll give you $100,000 now, which is what we had already asked for before, but they had turned us down. So, and since then, we've been super loyal to them, so I think that was a good move on their part. And within a year, by 2006, we had that SBA loan paid off again. So it was definitely a good move on their part. So in 2005, our biggest day was 4,500 packages. And so you can see the growth was like huge at first, and then it's kind of slowing down. But still, on average, we're growing about 40 to 50% each year. And during the year of 2005, we were getting about 400 orders per week. Just, yeah, wildly huge. So, and by 2005, let's see, how many products did we have in 2005? We had probably about, I'd say we more than doubled our product line in 2005. We went up to over 3,000 products, I think. Let's see here. And then that year, revenue was $3.9 million. And we set up payment plans with everybody that we owed money to. UPS, we paid them, we set up a plan with them for $5,000 a week. Which at first, we were like, we don't know how we're going to pay UPS, because we're not going to get any more money until Halloween of '05. And then, of course, we realized that we were getting 30, 50, 100 orders a day as it got close to Christmas in November of 2004. And we realized, hey, we can actually pay them some pretty good money. So we paid them about $5,000 a week. And everybody else, we set up a payment plan with them as well. And every single one of our debts was paid off by October 31st. Of 2005, and except for that line of credit, we paid that off in 2006. And then we got small paychecks, which we used to pay our personal credit cards that year. And I don't know if anybody else here has been in debt before, but it's like a major burden. And of course, it totally wrecked our credit scores. So I think mine, right when I graduated, it was like 740 or something, and then by 2005, it was like low 600s or maybe even in the 500s. I'm not sure, but But I'll tell you now, it was totally worth it. So it was a little depressing at the time, but it was, yeah, it's been a good ride. So, so some more pictures. These are boxes of packing slip paper. So remember I was saying we didn't have any kind of automation or location information for people who were coming to work in our warehouse. We also, the first few years, or the first year, I guess I should say, I would get the order information, get the credit card number, and then I would copy paste everything into like an online terminal, basically. Put in the person's credit card number, their address, and all of this information. And then if their credit card got approved, then I would copy and paste the same information onto into a Word document, which became their invoice. And then I would repaste most of the information a third time into a FedEx or a USPS window to get some kind of shipping document. And that's how we lived for the first few years. And then we got a little bit sophisticated, and we were making the packing slips automatically, and we were making the FedEx documents automatically, but they were coming out of 2 different printers. And so we would print all of these and print all of these and then match them up. And then we got even more sophisticated, and we got some packing slip paper where it has a barcode of the customer's order number on a little sticker that you peel off. And so the packers would pack up the order, peel off that sticker, and stick it on the outside of the package. And then when it got to the manifesting station, the manifester just has to scan that order number, and then the label comes out and goes on the package. So we were slowly getting things really efficient and less room for mistakes and stuff, so accurate. And this is our customer service area. It wasn't always that clean. We had space for 6 people. That felt really good. We bought our first phone system. And this is my brother Matthew over here, and this is one of our programmers. And you can see we had stuff going literally from floor to ceiling, and so whatever lighting we had was kind of covered up by the boxes, so it got pretty dark on some of the aisles. This is our super deluxe room where the costumes are $150, $200 or more for that's the retail price. So, and we keep those hanging up so that they come to the customer in as good condition as possible. And then here's a picture of what the packing slip looked like. So they just scan that order, that barcode, and out comes the label. And this was our packages, or most of our packages for one day. Each one of those garbage bags has probably 15 to 20 packages each inside each one. And then the UPS guy comes and he takes all those packages. Okay, 2006. We moved into a 23,000 square foot warehouse, and we were still using our, oh no, I'm sorry. We got rid of our personal credit cards. We didn't have to use those anymore because we got some company credit cards. Woo. And we changed our SBA loan at the bank into a commercial loan. There's a few reasons to do that, which you can, when you're ready to do it, you can talk to your loan officer about it. But basically, you get a better rate, and it basically means the bank is ready to really trust you. They don't need the government backing your loan. And that year, the biggest number of packages going out was 6,000 going out in one day. And the rest of the year, we had about 600 orders per week. And our revenue in 2006 was not $4.5 million, I'm sorry. It was $5.2 million. And we ended the year with 0 debt, which was really exciting, especially since just the year before we had paid off some. Yeah, it was nice to keep that going. And did we get paychecks? Yes, but very minimal. And when I say minimal, I mean just barely enough to live off of, maybe equivalent to like $800 or $1,000 a month. So like really tiny paychecks. So okay, so in 2007, I already talked a little bit about 2007 stuff, but we moved, no, I'm sorry, in 2007 we didn't move. We basically had the same situation. We were in the same building, and the number of packages that we had going out last year, 8,635 packages. That was our biggest day. And at this time, we're getting about maybe 150 orders a day. So maybe 900 orders per week in 2007. And our revenues last year, I already said, were about $7.2 million. And we got another, we extended our commercial line of credit to be bigger and better, so we could do more things, hire more people, invest in more equipment and other things to make our warehouse run more efficiently. So, okay. In the Halloween industry, I already talked a little bit about internet versus store-bought, but the manufacturers are definitely used to stores, brick-and-mortar stores. So, and their biggest days for Halloween are the last 3 to 10 days in October. And our biggest day, I mean, Halloween starts, you can see our orders double around July 15th. Go from about 150, 200 orders a day to 400 orders a day practically overnight around July 15th. And it just keeps getting, I mean, it just increases from there. And Ruby's is 55 years old. They're the biggest manufacturer of costumes. They make about 20% of their costumes in the States, and their 20% is more than all of the other costume manufacturers combined. So that gives you an idea of how huge they are. And they have the license for Star Wars, Batman, anything huge pretty much. Some of the other things are like images. They send us an image for what the costume is going to look like, and then the actual costume comes out differently. For whatever reason, maybe the licensor didn't like the way it looked. It wasn't the right color purple, or wasn't supposed to be purple at all. It was supposed to be pink. And if you're in a store, your customers don't care. They're looking at what they're buying. But our customers, when they go online, they look at an image, they expect to get that exact item. So that causes us some problems. Then, yeah, there's just a whole slew of other things that come with working with a manufacturer who is 55 years old and doesn't do anything electronically, and then working with us, we want to do everything electronically. That's the only way to do things. So, and then costume companies' seasonality. It seems like everybody just assumes that you can hire as many people as you want. Well, you can't because, well, like last year in Utah, unemployment was like 2%. It was nearly impossible for us to find employees last year to work in our warehouse. And we wound up having a award paid service project in my ward. We hired people to come in and work for a few hours, and we paid them in cash for the service project. So anyway, that's how desperate we were. And then there's also some annoying things like just having enough equipment for all the people that you have to have during Halloween. They're only using it for maybe 4, at most 6 weeks, and then the rest of the year it sits dormant. So unless you can find some other company to come and use it and during the rest of the year, and then they're not allowed to touch it, basically, during the Halloween season. So it's kind of hard to find that balance. And then the other thing is that every piece of equipment that we have to have a backup for it. So we have a $50,000 printer that we use to print all of our packing slips. If that breaks, how are we going to ship out our stuff? So we bought 2 of them. We have to have a backup for everything. Chairs, computers, monitors, keyboards, anything you can think of, we have a backup for it, because if even one person or 2 people or one piece of equipment is down, we could be talking, if it goes down on just the wrong day, we could be talking $10,000 an hour that we're losing, depending on what it was. Excuse me. So we have backup equipment for everything. And then, so already the one piece of equipment was going to sit dormant. Now we got 2 of them sitting dormant. So, and then, of course, just your sales sheet, your cash flow, it really bites the rest of the year. So we usually have some savings that we put aside to use for working capital after October. And then, but by July, August, or June, July, we are running seriously low on cash. So it gets very stressful when you don't have any cash, obviously. Okay. So our marketing and sales. So our cost, we keystone all of our products, or at least that's our starting point for our pricing. We start out, so if the costume is $15, we're going to be selling it for $29.99. And we also search our competitors' websites to make sure that we're still the lowest price company. And then, of course, we do our search engine optimization using Static Advantage. We used to do some pay-per-click, but we discovered that we were spending one day on just the search term Halloween costume. I think this was in 2004, 2005. We spent $10,000 that one day on that one term. And our conversion rate was like 1.5% or something like that, which I think it's okay as far as conversion rates go, but as far as we were concerned, that was ridiculous. We would rather have fewer sales and keep more of our money than do that. So we don't do any pay-per-click at all now. We do have an affiliate program, so if your child's elementary school or preschool puts a link up to our website, then they can get 8 or 10% of the purchase if anybody purchases from the preschool website. And we do stuff on jellyfish, which Yahoo just bought not that long ago. And we do some advertisements in magazines. We've dabbled in a few other ways of advertising, but none of them really pan out. Nothing is nearly as cost-effective as just doing the search engine optimization. So, and then we also have eBay and Amazon stores, and we have a new store on buy.com as well. And then financing. We already talked a lot about this, but we did a lot of bootstrapping. And so one of the stressful things, I'm LDS, and when you're bootstrapping and you don't get a paycheck, then you don't get to pay tithing, which doesn't sound like it would be much of a burden, but at a time, especially when you feel so poor and you're in desperate need of like the Lord's blessings, and you can't even pay tithing, it was more stressful to not be able to pay tithing, potentially more than some of the other stuff that we went through. So yeah, and then when you're in that much debt, or if you just don't have any money, then you wind up working really, really long hours because you have employees counting on you, and then you need to have money to, buy more peanut butter and jelly that you're living off of. So, but I will tell you this: this sounds like owning your own company is terrible, but I promise you that I've never worked so hard, so long, so anything in my entire life, but you hardly notice it, honestly. You don't realize it. There's nothing more exciting or invigorating or satisfying or exciting than owning your own company, especially during these growth years, the growth phase. Just nothing compares to it. So it sounds like we went through a lot of hard things, and we did. It was stressful. I didn't buy a new pair of shoes or new clothes for 3 years. I remember we went shopping to Target, and I got some clothes, and I was like so excited. And it really wasn't a sacrifice. It sounds like it was a huge sacrifice and huge risk and huge everything, but all of it was calculated, and we knew that we were going to be able to pull out of it soon. So anyway, it sounds terrible, but like I said, it was really, you work so hard, but you don't even realize that you're working that hard. So, well. Okay, so anyway, we also decided that we better start setting some revenue and expense goals so that we could actually pull out of our debt thing. So we did all of that, and we started really sticking to a budget. And we hired a bookkeeper. We started to really pay attention to where our cash was going to and where it was coming from as well. And we, at this point, by 2005 or so, we kind of had a feel for everything that could and would happen. So we were able to really start to know ahead of time what we could expect. So we had some problems in our first few years. One year we had over 6,000 unanswered emails that went, by October 31st, when the rush had calmed down, we had 6,000 unanswered emails. And that felt terrible. It felt really, really yucky. All these people that wanted to buy something or who had purchased something, and they needed to exchange it or ask a question about it or whatever, and we weren't able to get in contact with them. So we have that software I was telling you about that we use to manage and process our orders. We made that software basically to help with any problems that we had with our customer service so that we could actually answer emails or even just prevent the email from ever happening. Why do we even need to talk to our customers? If we can give them information that they need up front, then we can prevent all of this communication and the people and time and money that it takes to communicate with them. Yeah.
Do you mail the chargebacks on purchases? You can answer those emails.
Our chargeback rate is actually like incredibly low. In 2007, we did just under 200,000 transactions, and we had less than 40 chargebacks. So I can't do that math in my head, but it's a really, really tiny percent. I think the average for retail is about 0.5% or so. So we're quite a bit lower than that. Which I don't know how we have gotten by with that over the years.
6,000.
Yes, exactly. No, not at all. No, in that year, I think we probably did about probably 75,000 transactions, and we probably had about 20 or 25 chargebacks. So it was a higher percentage, but it was still lower than the average. And it's a good thing we didn't, because the credit card company that charges your cards for you and stuff, they'll cut you off and take your money too. If you have too many chargebacks, they'll hold it. Which we were scared of happening when we had all of these emails and all of these. It was just so stressful. We were definitely scared of that happening, because how are we going to pay our vendors if the credit card company is holding on to our money? So, but it all worked out. I'm sorry? 0.02%. Awesome. So in, let's see. So at this point, we also have on our website another way so that we can prevent these phone calls and emails from happening. People can go online and do stuff to their order. They can change the size, change the quantity, update their credit card information online, just like any other retail, online retail purchase. You can go online, like on Amazon or something. If your credit card gets declined, then you can just go on there and fix it yourself, which until 2006, late 2006, we didn't have that. So that was huge. And then we still have other improvements and ideas that we have that we want to make happen. I mean, all year long we are talking and coming up with ideas, and a lot of times we have to say, that's going to have to be for Halloween 2009. There's no way we're going to be able to get to that. And even this year we're already talking about ideas for Halloween for 2010. So even 2 years out, we have enough ideas to keep us improving and going through 2010. So let's skip some of this here. So one of the things that we are still working on, but we are probably about 60% there, is using barcodes for all of our products. The manufacturers, like I said, they're old school. I don't know how they keep track of their inventory in their own warehouse, because they're definitely not using barcodes. I think they're counting on people to be counting this stuff, and I honestly don't know how they do it. But we have started, if they don't come in with a good barcode, then we're putting barcodes on the stuff as it comes through our door. And they're used to shipping in September. Like, if they can ship the goods in September, they're like way ahead of the game, because the brick and mortar stores, they don't need it until like October 20th. So they're thinking that they're shipping it to us in September way ahead of time, way before we actually need it, when in actuality, by the 1st of September this year, we already had like 800 or 1,000 orders coming in a day. So they were way behind at that point. And they're shipping it to us in September, and then we have to get it in our door, organize it, label it, put it away, so that we can ship it out again sometime in the next 30 to 45 days. So it gets very stressful when we're working with manufacturers who are not up to speed on technology and the things that they need to be doing to make our lives simpler, and theirs too. So as far as human relations stuff, getting people or finding employees, we put out a lot of feelers with neighbors, friends, anybody that we can talk to that we need help. And we also have 100% paid health and dental benefits, not just for our employee. We also pay 100% of their family's health insurance as well, which I don't really know of any other companies that do that. But we do that so that we can find good people and keep them. It comes out to, like a 35-year-old man with a family, costs us about $1,200 a month, comes out to about $14,000 a year. So basically whatever his salary is plus $14,000 a year is what we pay to have him and keep him on our staff. We also have a little rule that we try to follow. Slow to hire and quick to fire. If somebody's not working out, it's going to be certainly in your best interest to let them go, but in the long run it's really in their best interest as well. If they're not working out, it's because they don't really want to be there, or they're just not the right person for the job, and they're going to find more job satisfaction at another place where they can do something that they actually like. And then we also have to hire a lot of temporary employees as well. And they aren't always the most intelligent or the quickest learners. Sometimes we get lucky and we find some really great people that we've kept on after the Halloween rush. But temporary employees is usually where we go to find, temp agencies is where we go to find a lot of our people. So as far as our plans for the future, maturity, harvest, they sound pretty boring to Kathleen, Matt, and I. We want to keep growing. I mean, as far as we're concerned, we've barely hit the tip of the iceberg on what we can do with not just selling costumes, but accessories. We just started getting into shoes and professional makeup and mascots as well. Our competitors are going more in the direction of party goods, like paper plates and napkins and stuff. And in my opinion, that's not, I don't know. I think the reason, I'm sure the reason they're doing it is because it will add a little bit of stability to the rest of the year. But our opinion is to stick in the costume area and make sure people can get everything they need, whether you're just a mom or if you are just a person who does makeup for a living. If you're a makeup artist, you should be able to come to our website and get everything you could possibly need for dressing up for any occasion. And that's kind of the way we're looking at it. And we have other ideas for other things that we want to sell as well. We'd also like to maybe do some, warehousing and fulfillment for other companies. That would help more with the stability of workers year-round than adding a different type of product to sell. So, yeah. And, yeah, we want to do everything we can to keep our company in the growth stage. We're really not interested in plateauing and whatever. That's not interesting to any of us. So, and then we have a little motto: wherever there's a problem, there's an opportunity, and probably even an opportunity to make some money from whatever that problem is. So anytime you find yourself saying, "Oh, that's so annoying. I wish blank didn't work like that. I wish something would be more whatever." Anytime you ever hear yourself saying that, stop and think for a second. Is there any way to fix this problem? My classic example is I am annoyed when I want to have toast for breakfast because you put 2 pieces of bread down in the toaster and they both come up at the same time, and then by the time you're done buttering the first piece of toast, the second one's already cold and the butter doesn't melt right. So if somebody could just invent a toaster that pops up the second piece of bread 10 seconds later, then problem solved. I pay an extra $20 for that toaster. So I mean, even little things like that. If you find yourself being annoyed by something, pay attention to that little voice that tells you that there is a better way to do this, because there might be an opportunity